and today I want to talk to you about what kit you're going to need to start learning cybersecurity. Many people who are wanting to get into the field, one of their first things is, what am I going to need? Let's keep it simple, let's keep it basic, let's keep it cheap. So, the basics. You're going to need a computer. You're going to need the internet. What else? And you're going to need lots of coffee. Who can study without coffee? Let's get into it. So, a computer, what do I mean by a computer? I mean a PC or a laptop. Tablets, I don't recommend. They're great for watching YouTube videos on the go. They're great for reading material. But when it comes to looking at getting hands-on, training labs, training websites, things like that, where you have to do something, they're just not going to cut the mustard. You can't install the software that you're going to need if you need any. They certainly won't run a lot of the training environments. A tiny little screen, you're not going to be able to do it. So ideally, PC or laptop. Not saying you can't learn cyber without it, but you're not going to get hands-on with just a tablet. So PC wise, my recommendation for people getting in, start off small and cheap. Mini PCs, they're great. I use lots of them. I did a quick eBay search that you can see here, just for a couple of them. They're reasonably cheap. They're tiny. There's a pencil. You can see how big they are compared to the size of a pencil. They're great. So they're really small. They take up no space whatsoever. They're really power efficient. They run off laptop adapters. So they're not going to be pulling huge amounts of electricity. The biggest thing about them is they're really expandable to an extent, but with the lid off, you can upgrade the RAM. You can swap the RAM out to normally up to 64. Some of them don't like it, but certainly 32 gig, you can whack them right up to 32 gig. Most of them you can swap the chip out on, so you could swap the CPU, put a different one in, bigger one in. I tend to leave it where it is. But the other thing you can do, whip the hard drive out, put a bigger one in, nicer one in, faster one in. And a lot of them, especially these HP Elite desks I've seen, I've got a couple of them, you can put an NVE card in for really fast storage. Plus they tend to come with a lot of ports on the back, so you've got lots of USB ports, video ports, things like that. And again, they're cheap. I've picked up a load of second-hand ones ranging anywhere between £40 to £80, depending on what specs, times. If you can drop lucky, you can get a cheap one. If you're not so lucky, you can get a slightly dearer one. But compared to buying a normal computer, they're cheap. Laptops. Most people are using laptops these days. They're great, they're handy, they're portable. You can normally upgrade the RAM in them. So if you do need a bit of extra oomph in your laptop, they're normally upgradable. You do have to pull the back off them. You can normally upgrade the hard drive. Some of the older ones really didn't like it when you started upgrading hard drives for some reason. I've done quite a few for different people. Normally older ones where they've got a mechanical spinning platter hard drive, whip it out, SSD in super fast. A lot of the more modern ones, especially MacBooks, are running NVE RAM disks, so super fast storage. You can't normally upgrade a CPU on a laptop. I've never done one. I've never seen one that you can upgrade on. They normally solder into the board. So CPU, you're normally stuck with it. One of the downsides about laptops is there's normally less ports on them. So like a PC's normally got 4 to 8 USB ports. Normally what you'll find with a laptop, they've got 1 or 2, which is alright if you're not using them, but if you want to start putting USB sticks in with software loaded on, or you want to use them for extra storage, connect peripherals and stuff, you're going to start running into problems. And cooling. Oh, cooling. I've been treating computers for many years, and one of the biggest things I come across was cooling problems with laptops. They just overheat, cook the chips, and you find that people normally put them down on a cushion next to them on the sofa, leave the video running or something. The intake for the cooling is directly underneath the laptop. It's covered, it's sucking all the dust out the cushions, trying to blow it out. There's nothing to blow out, and they end up overheating. So cooling, laptops are great if you're going to have it on a desk. Ideally, they've normally got rubber feet on them, so they stand proud of the desk, so they can get airflow in. If you can raise them up slightly, even better. If you're going to have it on your knee, use a tray. Use a tray, piece of wood, cardboard, anything, just to lift it off so that your legs or any material, skirts, trousers, anything, shorts, anything like that, is not obstructing the air vents to keep them nice and cool. Computer specs. Normally a little bit controversial, but ideally quad-core processor, i5 or higher. If you're going to start loading VMs, you want to allocate enough cores to the VMs so that your system can still keep running. And if you're going to be running a few VMs, they're each going to want a couple of cores or something each. So ideally, a quad-core, I would say, is the minimum that you want to be looking at. RAM memory, I'd say 8 gigabytes is probably your minimum. You could run 4, but as I say, once you start spinning up VMs, excuse me, you're going to get into some laggy problems. So 8 gig or higher, spot on. Hard drive, you can get away with up to 256 gigabytes, but again, once you start installing software, once you start installing VMs, downloading materials, you're going to munch through your storage. So 250 gig starting off is okay, but you're soon going to upgrade to 512 or more. And again, the bottom notice there, the more you do, the more you'll use. So, you know, once you start progressing through your training with cybersecurity, you're going to be having VMs left, right and centre. You're going to be having VM labs. You're going to need more resources. So the bigger the better as you go on. But for starters, quad core, 8 gig, 256 gig of RAM storage, ideal. Additional equipment, I would say a nicety would be 2 screens. One for watching your videos and your training materials, another one for taking your notes or doing your follow-along labs. I find it so much easier having 2 screens. If you've got one, you're going to be flicking around between your apps from your website or your training materials into your notes or into your labs, your VMs or something like that. Swapping between stuff just gets a bit of a pain, gets a bit fiddly. If you're using a laptop and you think, well, I'm sitting on my bed, how am I going to plug another screen in? Well, if you've got a TV on your wall, fantastic. It's a great second screen. Put your training resources, your videos on your TV. Use your laptop screen to do your labs. Perfect. I know a few people who do that. Cast the laptop over to the TV on the wall. Absolutely fantastic idea. And again, saving space. And onto space. Yeah, ideally, you could do with some space. I'm lucky enough that I've got a spare box bedroom that I've been able to put a desk in, or a couple of desks, and I can shoehorn all my equipment into here, so I can have the setup that I'm looking at. But do bear in mind that, you know, you might have a couple of books around you, notepads for taking notes, stuff like that. But if you are in a shared space, if you're sitting in the living room with your family, friends, loved ones, My dog, wherever he is, he gets annoyed with me. He's lying on the floor sleeping, thankfully. You know, not everybody wants to learn about cybersecurity, and to be honest, they might get a little bit sick and tired of hearing about it. So, ideal, pop a pair of headphones in, zone in, concentrate on your training, everybody's a winner. So, what's my setup? What am I using? Well, I'm using mini PCs. They were cheap. You know, I couldn't really afford to go out and spend lots of money on the flashy, big, super duper wide screens that you see people have. I haven't got flashy keyboards, anything like that. I've got cheap, dirty mini PCs off eBay. However, as I'm progressing, things are starting to creak. I've nigh on melted one tonight. But we'll see. I'll have to fire up a bigger PC and start using that from now on. But, as I say, I'm progressing on now. I've got 2 screens. I don't have these big wraparound screens. I don't have screens hanging off the walls everywhere. I've just got 2 screens sitting on the desk, which is ideal for me. Everything's hooked up through a USB dock, simply because I have a number of PCs. And my current day job, I've got a works PC, so laptop, so I plug that in. It's easy. Whip the USB cable out, plug it into whatever system you're going to be using. And yeah, I'm a bit of an IT geek. I've been doing IT for a number of years in different forms and variations. So I do have a home lab. I like building PCs. I like messing around, installing stuff, configuring stuff, breaking stuff. So I've got a number of Raspberry Pis running. They're great little small single board computers. This one's in a little case. So you've got networking, you've got USB, you've got HDMI on the side there. They're great. 8 gigabytes of RAM, quad-core processor. However, they are fantastic for labs, running little projects. They're great. Would I use it as a everyday computer? No. I did try, and unfortunately it just didn't cope. It couldn't hack it. It was so slow. It got relegated to another project, but I do have them. I run DNS servers on them. I've got my VPN server running on them. I've got network sensors running on them. So I've got quite a few of them knocking about. Mini PCs, I've got 6 of them running at the moment with well, I say running, not all of them are running. Got a couple running with different servers on, different projects on, and the one that I use for my main PC that I'm actually recording this video on today. But it all comes with lots of cables. Lots of cables, and my labelling has gone to pot recently, so I've no idea what cable does what anymore. But a lot of network comes with a lot of cables, so bear that in mind. But do you need everything that I've got? No. I've got it because I'm an idiot. I love playing around with stuff, and that's my bag. Yeah, that's my bag. I like to do it. To get started in learning cybersecurity, you don't need what I've got. You just need the basics. And my final thoughts on the subject, we'll wrap it up there. Keep it simple, keep it cheap to start off with. You can always upgrade and move on as you go through. PC or a laptop. Ideally, if you can get 2 screens running, 2 screens, coffee. That's all you need. A few bucks. All you need is a little bit of concentration and a passion. And that's all you need. So in the next couple of videos that I'm going to be launching, I'm going to be looking at setting up your computers. So installing hypervisors, a couple of different types of those which are free, so you don't have to be spending loads of money on them. And then once we got them set up, I'll be going through installing operating systems on them, so things like Kali Linux for all your hacking needs. And we'll even look at some Windows machines, servers, things like that. And then maybe some software that you might need to go along with them. So hopefully we can get that sorted, and that'll be coming up in the next few videos. So thanks for watching. I hope you found this useful. Stick around with the channel, and yeah, I look forward to speaking to you again.